Good day. Our supposed to be the topic of or the content for today is what have we learned in the subject Social Science 103N. To start off, what is globalization and how it started? And it will be answered by Miss Jamie Bayan.
So globalization started after gaining sovereignty of countries, and this gave them the opportunity to expand trade and business between countries. Globalization happens around the world as it tackles the exchange of technologies, trades, cultures, ideas, political and economic development. It's everything around us, like the food and things we buy, our gadgets and technologies, and the transportation we use. Through globalization, we can see the unity of one country to another.
Thank you for your thoughts, Miss Jamie. Moving on and connect to globalization. How does globalization affect our life? This question will be answered by Miss Venus Navalta.
Okay, thank you. So how does globalization affects our lives? So as we face the world daily, globalization has paved the way for countries to swiftly develop. However, the development is not even because some countries are growing quickly in comparison to others. So the developing countries lie in depriving position while the developed countries enjoy all the interconnection benefits. Globalizations had led to increased international trade, increased interdependence within the global economy, free movements of capital, goods, and services, and companies operating in multiple countries. So, with the help of globalization, it produces more wealth in non industrial countries, but efforts to enter this have not yet filled the gap between the richest and the poorest. So globalization has a lot of goods and services, economic investment, and people's international trade, as well as information. In the outcome of if the outcome of globalization is estimated, it suggests that development of the world may be more justified. So from the step that you take at the wet market and from the way that you buy goods and render services, it is the product of globalization, and we are using it today. Without free trade, innovations, and transaction, we will never see the idea of wearing a Dior shirt, gazing at the tall buildings and constructions of transportation that are used in interacting from nation to nation, from simply thinking of what we are used in online classes, which is mobile phones, laptops, and Wi-Fi. We effortlessly reach development and progress since we used a product of globalization. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Miss Nabalta. You can really say that Miss Nabalta have listened and learned a lot from this subject. Let's move on. One of the topics that you can relate to globalization is economic dimension and globular culture media. Let's hear it from Mr. Neil Belisario.
Okay, thank you, G. What I've learned that economic dimension of globalization is a process in which countries throughout the world become increasingly interconnected market forces with no pushback from countries' limits or boundaries. It necessitates the elimination of all barriers to the movement of capital, products, and services. The vision of country will get distorted as economic globalization happens, as it links between national economics and the world economy. On globular culture tells us that as a result of globalization, civilizations are becoming increasingly similar because of the markets are expanding worldwide, which results to passing others or one's culture. And for media is not always on facts. Medias are sometimes biased or hacked. In this world, nothing is secured. It just depends on with where would you get the informations and need to validate it. That's all.
So thank you, Mr. Neil Belisario. So how about Miss Rodas Evelyn? Let's hear what her thoughts or what are the things that she have learned in this subject.
Okay, so I've learned a lot from the subject, the contemporary world. At first, I thought it would be boring. However, as soon as I watched and listened to every video clip and lesson, I found it very interesting. It showed me various problems and issues that our society encountered and is facing today. It gave me the ability to understand the impact of culture, religion, technology, and economics, including the problems and issues mentioned in the videos and other aspects to globalization. I want to emphasize the uprise in world hunger and inflation that extremely affected countries during pandemic. WFP or the World Food Program adopted technology advancement to pave way in minimizing the world hunger, which other programs should look up into for us to cope globally. It also provided me the factors that influence food security that we people should be aware of. It includes the availability, access, utilization, and the stability. And with addressing these factors, we can gradually end global hunger. Inflation caused by different happenings, either cost push and demand pull inflation, also affected the whole world. There has been inflation around the world during the pandemic that we need to be aware of for us to be able to fight against it. Think of ways on how to improve the condition of a country's economy. These are just two of those that I've learned from this subject, and knowing this can make me be aware of my roles and responsibilities that I need to play in our society and for the next generation. That would be all.
Okay, that really is a comprehensive explanation from Miss Evelyn. So in this subject, for yours truly, what struck me the most was about stock market value. So why? Let's just say that my family owns a small business, but in relation to the course that I'm taking today, what stock value means is that the more that the stock in the market is in demand, the value increases. So recently, the demand in nurses globally has increased since the pandemic began. So in connection to nursing, um, because of the nursing profession being in demand, many of the college or become students who are becoming college students have been interested because they know that after finishing the degree, they would immediately find a job. So the profession nursing or the demand in nursing would increase, or the value of the nursing profession will more people would see more value, or how do I say this, more people would invest their time in it. So once again, thank you for listening to our thoughts. I am Jessica GC Santos with Jamie, Miss Jamie Bayan, Miss Venus Navalta, Mr. Neil Belisario, and Miss Rodas Evelyn.